Hey, I'm Johnny, and I used to have social anxiety until about 2 years ago. So this is Social Anxiety Confessions. Though I don't feel like my social anxiety is holding me back in major ways in life anymore, there are still a lot of things that make me nervous, social situations and things that I shy away from, and there are days where I hesitate to leave my comfort zone at all. So when I push myself to do things that I don't want to do or that I'm scared of or nervous about, I always feel really proud of myself afterwards, because when you struggle with social anxiety and you make yourself do something that scares you for whatever reason, it's a really big accomplishment. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about 4 things I did recently that I'm really proud of myself for doing. The first thing, this happened last night actually. I went to a house party. That's not the main thing that scared me. House parties don't really scare me anymore. I've talked about this in previous videos. I like house parties. I like them a lot, especially when they're with close friends. But last night's party was a party where I was only going to know one person there, the person who was throwing the party, and then possibly one other person. So it was a house party where I wasn't gonna know anyone, and I really wanted to go because it was my friend's birthday. And yeah, I thought about not going. I was really close to not going, but I did. I went, and I'm so proud of myself, one, for going to a party where I wasn't gonna know anyone because, like, God, that sounds so scary, right? But besides being proud of myself for doing it, I'm really glad I went because I had a great time. Yeah, so when I first got there, there were about 5 people in the living room sitting on the couch. I said hi to the birthday girl, I gave her my present, and then we all kind of moved into the kitchen, and more people started showing up pretty quickly. But when I first got there, she introduced me to the other people, and everyone was really friendly, thank God. Like, there were no like mean people there, which is so not always the case, just like in general. I was really happy because right off the bat, after offering everyone a drink, she was like, okay, who wants to play a game? And we started playing a game because some parties you go and there's like no activities and it's just people standing around talking, which can be really hard. There were like moments like during the beginning of the party where I felt like I was being quiet for too long, but I didn't feel too awkward about it. I've gotten so much more comfortable with just like, I don't know, being myself. Even if that means standing somewhere quietly, just like clearly listening to what's going on, but not always talking. But whenever I got the chance to interject something into like a conversation or what someone was talking about, I did it. Because I do kind of feel self-conscious if I stay quiet for too long. But honestly, I felt included, and another girl I knew showed up to the party, and so we kind of stayed together pretty much the whole time. Thank God. So I successfully went to a house party where I only knew 2 people. So yeah, if you want any tips for diving into a situation like that, I guess all I would say is, 1, it's okay if you don't want to stay that long. Forcing yourself to go, that sounds so harsh, but deciding to go is a really big accomplishment. You don't have to stay longer than you want to stay. Even if you tell yourself, I'm just gonna stay for a half hour or like an hour, do it. You don't have to stay longer than you want to. 2, try and bring a friend with you, or know if like one of your friends is gonna be there, because it's probably would be really hard to go to a party where you're not gonna know anyone except for like one person. And like when I do just know one person, I feel kind of awkward like trying to cling to that person the whole time. Like maybe they don't want me to do that, but I didn't feel like that this time. So besides like leave when you want to and bring a person, I would also say if people seem friendly, try going up to them, try introducing yourself. Or something I did throughout the night to kind of break the ice with people was say, hey, so how do you know so-and-so? Or like, how do you know so-and-so? And then they would like tell me, oh, we work together, oh, blah, blah, blah. And that's a great way to start a conversation with someone you don't know at a party. Second thing I did recently that I'm proud of myself for doing is telling a guy about my feelings for him. Oh, crazy, I know. Yeah, so I was dating a guy. I'm not gonna go into too many details. I really wanted to tell him how I felt, and I also had questions about how he felt about me. It's hard to explain this without going into all the details, but so like in me like dying to know how this person felt about me, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of bring up how I feel about them. But in order to do that, I'm gonna need a lot of courage, and I didn't have the courage, so I got some help from alcohol. I'm sorry if that's a bad example, but I knew going in I was gonna need a lot of alcohol to have the courage to even like talk about this kind of stuff. Me and this guy had been to a bar that day, and then when we got back to his place, I felt like whatever. A lot of stuff led up to the moment, but when the moment came, I basically was like, can I ask you something? And he's, it was this whole thing. I don't know how many details are too much for YouTube. If you've dated me in the past, please stop watching this video. That's just a little weird. I basically said, I want to know how you feel about me because I think I'm starting to like you, and I want to know if you feel the same way so that neither of us gets hurt. You know, his response is another story for another time. But guys, that was so freaking scary. Like, even with the alcohol, I was so scared, like, to even let those words come out of my mouth. It's really vulnerable to share your feelings like that. And as I was saying it, it felt so surreal to be doing something that scary. You know, I made a video about 8 months ago called Facing My Fears and Dating for the First Time at age 24. So I have not been dating for that long. I've never looked a guy in the face and said anything remotely close to like how I feel about him before, ever in my life. So it was terrifying, and even as I was doing it, it was still terrifying. And then like, when you don't get the response you want, it's really hard to. So yeah, maybe next time I do that, I won't need all the alcohol, and maybe next time I do it, it'll just be a better situation. I don't know. But it's something that I did. I'm proud of myself for that because in the past I've had feelings for people and I haven't even considered sharing it. Or I've thought of these crazy scenarios like writing them a love letter and leaving it, or getting a friend to do it for me, which I never did any of those things. In the past, I've always just kept my feelings for people inside. So that is a huge accomplishment for me. Third thing I did was tell somebody to stop touching me in so many words. I will break down the situation for you. One, I'm a people pleaser, so I will be in the most uncomfortable situation. You can come in, it's fine. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, don't get mad at me, but I feel like being a people pleaser goes along with having social anxiety. I just feel like it goes hand in hand, and like maybe that's why I've always been such a people pleaser, but it's really bad with me. Just in every aspect, that's how I am. To the point where if somebody's making me uncomfortable, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want them to like feel bad that they were making me uncomfortable. Anyway, it's only the past few months that I've recognized that I'm a people pleaser, and then it's only in the past few weeks that I've started trying to change. Lately, when I catch myself doing something and I'm doing it and I'm being a people pleaser about it to the point where I shouldn't be, I catch myself and I'm like, wait, what can I do differently in this situation to not do that? I know, like, it's great to like worry about other people's feelings. That's not what that's not really what I mean by being a people pleaser. Hopefully you know what I mean. It's like to the extreme where your own comfort isn't even like considered at all. So anyway, a few days ago I was working. I was doing audience work, which I do sometimes. You make a lot of friends doing audience work. So there was this guy. He started talking to me in a friendly way when I first got in line to get there, check in, get started with the show and everything. I felt like by the time we were all checked in, waiting to get seated at the show, we were already friends. We ended up sitting next to each other, and it became obvious that he was hitting on me because he started asking questions like, do you have a boyfriend? What is your type? What kind of guys do you tend to gravitate towards? To which I was like, guys, I've become so confident when it comes to like conversations. Like a few years ago, I would have just awkwardly been like, I don't know, or no, I don't have a boyfriend. But like now I was like, because the question he asked right before that was so random, and then he just jumped to, so do you have a boyfriend? I was like, you know, that's kind of an extreme like subject change. Why are you asking me that? And just, he said, what's your type? And I said, I don't really have one, dude. Like, I wasn't really having it. Because I didn't want him to get that vibe. It was a really cold night and we were doing an outdoor show, and he at one point said, I'm kind of cold, I'm gonna share your body heat. And he scooted over really close to me, and his entire body was touching like the side of mine. And I realized I'm not really feeling this. Like, I don't really want him to be sitting that close to me. And in the past, I wouldn't have said anything. This time, like, I pretended I needed to stand up to do something or to see something, and then I sat back down and I made sure that we weren't touching anymore. But I made sure there was a big gap because I knew that he was gonna slide back in. A few moments later, he said something like, I'm getting cold or something. I don't know what he said, but basically I was like, I'm not really a touchy person. And I looked him right in the eye and I said that. And he was like, that's okay. But he still wasn't getting it. And then I was like, I like having my own personal space. Keywords, personal space and touching. Not a touchy person, which I am under the right circumstances. This is obviously just me trying to be really nice about this situation. So then he got it. And then he was less friendly with me like the rest of the night. Like, he barely kept talking to me. Like, okay, so just because I want my own space, now you're not gonna be friendly anymore? Like, whatever. I feel like if I was a different kind of person, no social anxiety, no fear there, super confident, and not a people pleaser, I would have just said, dude, please stop touching me. This isn't gonna be a thing. Please stop touching me. Give me my personal space. But I'm not that person. The last thing I did recently that I'm proud of myself for doing was signing up for Rover. So I recently decided that I wanted to sign up for Rover to be an on-demand dog walker, to add another income to what I already do for income. There's a long training process online, and the last step is you have to go in to do an in-person harness test. So that made me nervous because, one, I have to talk to a person. Job interviews terrify me. I made a video on that, and then it was like the situation I'd never been in before, and then I didn't know where it was gonna be, like what's the room gonna be like, what's this person gonna be like. So there were all these like fears in my head. But I did it anyway. I signed up, I went, I did the in-person harness test. It actually only took 5 minutes. There was like this stuffed dog, and I basically just had to put all the different dog harnesses on the stuffed dog in like a certain amount of time, and then I left. And they let you know within like a week or two if you get approved to be a dog walker. I got approved. I was so happy. And I actually walked my first dog a few weeks ago. Actually, it makes me nervous every time I am about to go like accept a dog walk request, because you have to go into the person's house and get the dog, and I'm always like nervous, like, is the owner gonna be there? Because social situation, guys, so many things still make me so scared. I will literally turn down a walking request if I know the owner's gonna be there, because I don't want to have to like talk to anybody. I just realized I do that. Man, I shouldn't do it, but I just really don't like those interactions. So, I'm still growing. But yeah, those were 4 things that I made myself do recently that I'm really proud of myself for doing, because I was scared, but I did it anyway. Yeah, I love getting your comments. I'm so sorry, sometimes I don't respond for a long time, but I try to respond eventually. What do you do to make yourself do something that you're too scared of doing? How do you get through it? Or what are some things you've pushed yourself to do recently that you're proud of yourself for? Yeah. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when I upload new videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Check out my channel. I do mental health videos, social anxiety confessions, eating disorder confessions, because I struggle with that too. And I also want to start doing more fashion related videos. I also do vlog type videos ever so often. And there's also a playlist on my channel called Tour Diaries, where I vlogged my 3-month road trip / tour across Canada and the US that I went on a few years ago with an indie band. I played violin in the band, and we were on the road for 3 months, and I vlogged the entire thing. So if you want to check that out, the playlist is on my channel. I'm trying to plug that because it's just up there, but I want more people to watch it. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Bye.